Okay, so kind of appropriate for what we're going through right now. We are going to read a couple of articles and then write an essay. So this is about the measles outbreak. I don't know if you guys remember, but a lot of people were super anti-vaccine. Some people even said that the measles vaccine may be connected to the rising cases of the number of children with autism, but that's been proven to be a false claim. But let me read this little blurb for you. The first paragraph, it says, "The measles is in the news. There have been a lot of measles outbreaks and some people are starting to panic. Others feel this is no big deal. Write an essay to summarize what the measles is, how it is contacted and spread, and how it can be prevented. Then tell about at least 2 areas where measles have been confirmed and what happened. Finally, write a paragraph to explain if you are worried about the measles outbreak or why not." So this whole area right here, starting here, this is what we would call the writing prompt. It is telling you what you need to do, what you need to write. But also, I have this beautiful little outline right here that we can look at. Now these links, this is what you're going to be focused on right here. And these articles are in Google Classroom. So you can just connect to Google Classroom and read them there. But the first job is read the articles, and then after you read the articles, go ahead and come back here and finish the video. And we can start. Okay, hopefully you have already read the 2 articles, the one about winning the measles and the battle, and the other about 5 babies near Chicago. These are outline suggestions. I would suggest, as the suggestion states, that if you're not really comfortable writing articles, you stick to this because it's a formula and it's laid out right in front of you. I'm going to talk a little bit about the introduction. The introduction is your first paragraph that's going to set the tone. Okay, and this is what I want to do. I am going to X out a couple of things here that I don't think you need. You always end with your thesis statement. Always, always, always. So first I'm going to explain what a hook is. Then I'm going to explain what a thesis is. Sometimes it's easier for people to come up with a thesis. And really, we're going to go back here and look. Basically, we're summarizing what the measles is, how it's spread, how it can be prevented, and some areas. We're just like describing measles in modern day America. So usually, I'm going to start at the beginning of this introduction because it's a lot easier, I think. A thesis statement is your claim plus 3. It can be 2. I can say 2 or 3 reasons. Now, I'm going to go off topic just a little, and I'm going to say, should people wear masks at Walmart? Okay? It's pretty important, pertinent to us right now. Should people wear masks at Walmart? Now, you have to come up with a yes or no, because this is persuasive one, this thesis, or this writing prompt. So I'm going to say people should wear masks at Walmart because. So this whole chunk that I just wrote, that's my claim. And if you notice, my claim is just using those same words right there. I haven't invented, rewritten anything new. So now these are going to be my 3 reasons. Because it protects the Walmart employees. It provides additional protection for elderly people, and let's say, and it is a good way to support social distancing. Okay, so right here in purple, what I just wrote, that these are my 3 reasons. I added 3. You just depends. Sometimes it's going to say 2, sometimes it's going to say 3, and sometimes you're just going to wing it. So my thesis statement says people should wear masks at Walmart. That's my claim because 1, it protects the Walmart employees. 2, it provides additional protection for elderly people. And 3, it is a good way to support social distancing. So those were my 3 reasons. So your thesis statement is going to have a formula. Okay? And in this article, it's asking you, or this writing prompt is asking you to write about the measles outbreak. Basically, tell me about the measles. The measles is, and then give me 1, 2, maybe like give me 1 and 2 that affect us now by. So here's a nice little sentence template for your thesis. The measles is, give me a description here and a description here, what it is, and then now tell me how is it affecting us today. And that's a good thesis statement there. Now if we go back up here, the first thing that it wants you to do, we already talked about our thesis. Now let's talk about the hook. It's have a hook. And hook is exactly what it sounds like. It's hooking you. It's trying to draw you in, like if you were fishing. It's trying to tell me, like, why do I want to read this article? If it starts out, or this essay, if it starts out boring, I'm probably not going to want to continue reading. So a hook can be one of 3 things, and it listed them there. It can be a question, an interesting fact, or an anecdote. Anecdote, I can't spell. Oops. I'm going to have to look back here. Anecdote, sorry. My spelling is gone these days. Here we go. Anecdote. Okay. So for example, a question can be, have you ever known anyone with the measles? Our interesting fact can be 85% of the U.S. population has had the measles vaccine. And an anecdote can be, my mother told me the horror stories of having the measles. So these are all, a question is you're asking a question about the topic, something that you think a person might find interesting. An anecdote is a little story that kind of introduces a topic that's kind of interesting, that you might draw a reader in. Like, my mother told me about this, so some maybe you can relate to it because you've heard stories about the measles from your parents or grandparents. And an interesting fact is that, and listen, if you have to make the fact up, it's okay. You're just you're limited with resources and time. So when you're taking this test, just come up with some number off the top of your head, and then you have to tie all of these in. So then after you get the hook, but before, so you're going to start with hook. It goes hook, then details or explanation, and then thesis. So we've done hook and we've done thesis. Now these details, depending on what type of a hook you choose, you're going to explain it. So if I said the anecdote, my mother told me the horror stories of having the measles, I need to explain that. I can say, her stories made me glad to have had the measles vaccine. I know there are many people who are not as lucky as I am. And then I can write my thesis. So this can be our introductory paragraph right here. Okay, in that box. So my hook was, my mother told me horror stories of the measles. Her stories, blah, blah, blah. The measles are blank and blank that affect us now by blank. And that is our intro. That's your first paragraph. You've already written one. Now the next paragraph, thankfully, are not as complicated, because all you're doing, if you look here, they want you to describe the basic information about the measles. And those you'll find in the articles, the symptoms, how it's contracted and spread, how it's treated, and how it can be prevented. So get all those that information from your articles. That's your second paragraph. Now your third paragraph is, tell me about the recent measles outbreaks and give me 2 examples. And you will find those in these articles. 5 babies getting the measles and winning the battle. And then now you, at the last one, have to give me your opinion. Is it something to worry about? So then you could say, the measles is something to worry about because, and you're going to give reason 1 and reason 2. That's a 2, sorry. And then here you're going to explain a little bit more. Now this conclusion, you start your conclusion. Conclusion is going to go like this. Restate your thesis. And your thesis was a sentence that looked like this. The measles is blank and blank that affect us now by blank. Just same general feeling, but you're restating it. And then you're going to give me a universal truth. A universal truth is something that everybody pretty much agrees. More money always makes people happy. Or all kids love summer vacation. Now, of course, there's going to be those 2 or 3 people who don't agree with these statements, but for the most part, people do. And that's how you're going to end, with the universal truth.